Hello and welcome to the video with me, Winner Android, where I'm now doing the timeline for the series I did as the Tsardom of Bulgaria on the Powder Keg of Europe scenario on the MegaMod, which sucks. So, yeah. Scenario, World War I, of course, so yeah. Playing as the Tsardom of Bulgaria, over here, weakest country in the Balkans if you ignore Montenegro. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and get this thing started here, since the start is kind of slow with not much happening, but yeah. I'm not going to be able to keep up with all the stuff going on in this whole thing, considering there's just a lot going on for so much of this game. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to keep up with it all, that's for sure. But yeah. One modification, and one modification to this scenario to make things work better, considering all the colonies for the Entente and everything are part of the Alliance, so I had to make a little change to pull them all out, because having them in caused utter chaos when they eventually started rebelling, which has already started. And also, first thing I did there, had Serbia and Romania go to war with each other so I could take advantage of that and take them both over. So I think I got Romania as a vassal, I think. Not exactly sure. It's been a while since I recorded the first episode, but yeah. Another thing to mention, I guess, this is like third or fourth try I actually had on this series. Russia and the Entente as a whole is at war with the Ottoman Empire, which caused me to go to war with the Ottoman Empire much earlier than I ever anticipated doing, which resulted in me getting all the lands they had in the Balkans, which I eventually go after. I got the Ottoman Empire's as a vassal, and then go to war with them again because they almost got to the point where they were going to declare independence. So we tried to annex them, they refused to start another war. But yeah, that's a lot of that stuff in the Balkans done, for now at least, until I get all these other countries cleaned up and everything. But yeah. I'm pretty sure most of the colonies and everything have rebelled by now. United Kingdom controls a lot of this stuff directly at this point. British Raj over there. Japan going to war with the Queen. Siam took over French Indochina there. Japan wins that war and pretty easily by the looks of it. British Burma goes towards Siam. Ends up winning that, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there we go. So I've taken over all those countries up there at this point. War is going crazy in Africa as well, due to just chaos and everything. It would have been even more chaotic if they were all actually in alliance together still. But, yeah. I think this is probably like the calm before the storm at this point, possibly, considering, I guess it's basically World War I, pretty much, considering how much fighting there is going on. But yeah, that's going to be kicking off soon. France took over Italy. Don't know exactly when that actually happened, but they did. So all that's controlled by Italy at this point. Yeah. Just gotta wait until things kick off here, I guess. However long that's going to take, but it's going to be very obvious when things do. Because a lot of wars break out. Which I think is mostly kind of due to me sending trade requests to countries, wanting them to go to a war and everything. As a result of another war that starts. Yeah. The World War I basically broke out, so I ended up getting all of them to go to war to give Russia another front to fight, because otherwise, Central Powers would easily lose. Eventually join it in on this thing war myself, and I was getting close to falling apart, I think, to be honest, considering my southern front over here in the Middle East kind of completely collapsed at one point during the war, and the front up here going into Russia completely collapsed at one point as well. But yeah, got all that lands there. That stuff's not actually controlled by Germany. That's just a bug. Germany has capitulated to Russia at this point, which did actually manage to take the northern half of France in a peace deal apparently at some point during that war. But yeah, that war never ends, because they are never able to defeat New Zealand. No, I think they do eventually actually end up taking over New Zealand, but the war still never ends because they never get peace, because bugs. But, yeah. A lot of chaos going on. Japan has a shitload of land at this point. Especially because the Queen did capitulate to Russia. I go to war with Russia again, which thankfully, because of how the game mechanics work and everything, if a country goes to war with you, you don't have to deal with their allies joining a war. But if you are the one to actually go to war, they'll bring in their allies and everything. So I sent an ultimatum to Russia. They refused and immediately go to war with me. So worked out for me because made it where they only had to deal with Russia. And of course, took a lot more land from them, which also resulted in Bavaria coming out over there, considering Germany got all their lands back, immediately had a rebellion that somehow made them capitulate, and then that rebellion became Bavaria. So, at all but name, it's Germany, basically, considering all of Germany's actual land is down here in Africa, completely being occupied by the United Kingdom. But, yeah. Brazil took over Chile at some point. I honestly don't know what else is going on at this point, to be honest. Just tons of chaos. Denmark and that country at war with each other. Sweden had another problem with over there and falling into rebellion somehow, I think. Yeah. Let's see. United States, Canada go to war with each other. I think this actually, nope, that's not the first war the United States fought, considering they got all this in the Southeast Asia, which I still don't actually know when they actually got that. I watched this timeline once before and I didn't notice when they did that, but they did at some point. But yeah, the United States has Southeast Asia over there and never lose that, to be honest. I think. But, yeah. Kinda starting to slowly clean things up over here. And taking over what's left of Austria-Hungary, pretty much. Considering, yeah. Rebellions happening and stuff. And everything. Just tons of chaos. And Austria exists over here at this point. Because one of the rebellions over there. Eventually starts cleaning up more of that stuff. Abonesia's over here growing even more. And actually winning a war against the United Kingdom, apparently. United States took the entirety of Quebec and Ontario from Canada. And also has Colombia down there in South America. I go and take over Austria, get all that cleaned up for the most part. There we go. At this point, I have the entirety of Austria-Hungary under my control without ever fighting the Austria-Hungary, which still exists, technically. I think Spain is toward the Entente, or just the United Kingdom, possibly, not sure. I go to war with the Entente in its entirety at this point, and yeah. That war took a while to deal with. You know, Britain did actually manage to kind of hold me off for a bit over there in England. Just for a bit, though. They eventually end up falling. I take literally all their land in Europe, kicking them out entirely. So all that they have left is stuff in Africa and South America, basically. And also this stuff that Russia has over here in Asia that they never fucking lose. Because Japan never went to war with them. But Japan is at war with the United States trying to take Southeast Asia. And they nearly succeed, I think, going by this. But, yeah. Russia has all that, France got that stuff, and there's all the crap in Africa, that's just tons of chaos. Bavaria has that stuff there. United States and France, Canada are at war with each other again. Canada has that stuff there. Japan has a little bit as well. But Canada's about to fall to United States, so United States is going to get that soon. Yep, there we go. And United States supports Japan still, so yeah, United States gets all of that. I'm getting all the Netherlands and everything. Went to war, started cleaning up all these other countries over here, took over that one country, and then Denmark immediately basically went to war with me after I finished that off, which caught me by surprise, considering I didn't actually expect them to do that. But yeah, went through and took all that, got all of Scandinavia under my control, and then at this point, yeah, more wars going on. United States and Japan still at war with each other. I had to try and figure out a way to deal with Bavaria and Spain, considering both of them had pretty large armies with over 10 million troops each at least. Don't exactly remember how many troops they had in their capitals, but they had a lot. More than what I think I could easily recruit at the time. So, I ended up getting Spain and Bavaria to go to war with each other, and they didn't do a damn thing with those armies. But somehow, Spain does get them to capitulate. No idea how that happened, but it did. So, took advantage of that, took over what was left of Bavaria, and then try and quickly take over Spain as quickly as possible before they managed to stabilize all the land that they got from Bavaria. Considering that would be a bit of a problem, considering how much of an economic powerhouse the entirety of Bavaria had become at that point. So with that, I basically have all of Europe under my control, for the most part, if you ignore the stuff the United States has there, and then a little bit of Portugal that Britain has. But I do also have all this stuff over here in Africa now, which I slowly expand off of. I'm trying to clean up the chaotic mess that is Africa at this point. Which does lead me to going to war with the Entente again, to finish them off once and for all. Mostly, at least, considering, yeah, they do kind of survive, because, well, Russia does have that stuff over there. So, yeah. Got all that, and a lot in South America at this point. But before I do anything else in South America, I kinda go through and try and clean up the mess that's still left in Africa. Yeah. Also, the United States and Japan did get peace at some point, so the United States took a little bit of what Japan had. Just a little bit, though. But yeah, there we go, got a lot of that stuff cleaned up. Take them over next, and then I take over that one there, and then Brazil, I think, if I remember correctly. And you also got them at war with Japan over there still, apparently, even though they've lost all their land. And then after I deal with Brazil there, I deal with Argentina, and there we go. That's basically all South America under my control at this point. Though the Belgian Congo also has that stuff there from being at war with Brazil just before I did. Went and took them over. But yeah, deal with Belgian Congo to get that under my control. And then I deal with Venezuela over there. And taking them over. Before I go and deal with Honduras, which has gotten all this stuff down here. Don't know exactly how they end up getting all that down there, but they did, somehow. And yeah. At this point I've gotten stuff, a lot of the Pacific under my control, and a little bit of the Philippines there and stuff. But yeah, next up is Mexico and the Philippines. Which, they were the ones that actually went to war with me, because the Philippines put a coalition together against me. Which, to be honest, worked out pretty well, considering I was literally just a few turns away from going to war with Mexico anyways, so it was just a bit more of a problem dealing with the Philippines more than anything, because I wasn't actually prepared to fight them. But I got that dealt with, and yeah. dealing with Australia at this point. Next up, Dutch East Indies, dealing with them, which that was honestly a pain in the ass dealing with them, because they had a very large population on these islands here and that one. So, yeah. And they had a large army on that one, considering it's their capital, or their capital is. So, eventually managed to get all those islands under control after a lot of fighting, and then prepared for another attack over here and merely got them capitulated at that point. Took over Malaysia there, and now, next up is Indonesia, finishing off this stuff over here in Africa for the most part, considering Japan has all the stuff down here in Africa as well. And there we go. That is that done. Now, the next thing is probably the stupidest decision I made during this entire series. Going to war with the United States and Japan at the same time, which I was absolutely no way prepared for that war with the United States, to be honest. Considering that war, despite how short it looks in this, took me over 8 hours in total, I think, to actually finish. So yeah, every single turn was basically took over half an hour each. But I eventually managed to get Japan to capitulate there, in which I immediately tried to get peace with the United States, considering there's going to slow, because that was just a pain in the ass of a war to deal with, to be honest, and thankfully managed to get that kind of peace deal out of it. When she saw the Confederate States and Texas pop up there for a moment, because I wanted to make sure I got as much of this eastern section of the United States under my control as possible, because that's where they had developed everything, basically, and put all their focus into, which is something the AI rarely does, but when they do, they become a pain in the ass to deal with. So, yeah. Wanted to make sure that I took as much of that stuff as I could, and making Confederate States as a vassal is the way to do that, and yeah, cleaned up a lot of that stuff over there, and they don't really have much left. And at this point, it's just dealing with all the stuff over in Asia, and then it's pretty much over. Took me forever to get all that stuff done, considering all the wars that the United States and Japan had been fighting kind of caused the happiness for this entire area to basically be zero. So that took a while to go through and bring all that up to acceptable levels at like 60%. And dealing with all the rest of rebellions that was resulted from that super low happiness. But yeah, all these wars over here are basically my doing, trying to get the AI to fight each other and make things easier for me to take them over. But yeah, eventually get all that dealt with, cleaning them all up and stuff. Until the United States is the only one left, which falls pretty quickly, though they do put up a bit of a resistance over here because of how many troops they had there. But that is the end of that timeline. So, yeah. This was a hard series, that's for sure, considering I was one of the weakest countries in the area that I started in, just surrounded by giants basically, so I had to just slowly grow for quite a while before I eventually managed to break that shell that's trapping me, and then I managed to start growing quite rapidly at that point. Pretty much is what happens there. That's me breaking out of the shell is basically me fighting the Entente, getting all their land in Europe pretty much. But yeah, there is the end of this video, I guess. So yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.